So warm-up 92 should be a piece of cake by now. We have to simplify and round your answer to the nearest tenth. Square root of 50. Graph g of x equals x plus 3 squared minus 2. Then we got factor by grouping x squared plus 8x plus 24 plus 3x. And part B is 6x squared plus 13x plus 5. Dividing the polynomial by synthetic division, 8x cubed minus 20x squared minus 14x plus 6 divided by x plus 3. And solve the system using substitution. Y plus 5x equals negative 7. And x equals y plus 1. All right, so today I do want us to get through, hopefully, the entire study guide for the benchmark. So do me a favor, copy the entire warm-up. I'll give you guys a couple minutes, copy it completely. Then I'll give you guys a little bit more time to complete, and then if you don't finish, you'll finish it later, and then we'll move on to the study guide. Copy and go. All right, so the warm-up, like I said, you should have gotten at least through number 3, and you'll finish the last 2 by yourself. Copy the agenda, please. Warm-up 92, benchmark review. Today's home plate study guide B is going to be included right now in the code that I'm going to give you. Study guide B for today. Right, so once again, the code to access the study guide, JSBTQ, should be the first thing that comes up once you log in. All right. Last night's home play, it's a gift from me to you. Aww. Thank you, Mr. Q. You're welcome. Tonight's home play, once again, study guide B. Make sure you study. All right, so basically I want us to make sure we master all the concepts that we covered so far. Okay? So get a Cornell note ready, please. A blank sheet of paper ready. So our objective for today, can master all benchmark 3 concepts and skills, everything we've seen. Let's see, just a quick recap from the top of our head. What have we seen? Complex numbers, yes? Imaginary numbers? What else have we seen? Circles, yeah? What else? Parabolas? How about quadratic equations with applications, yeah? All that's in there. All right, on your paper, write number 15. I'm going to start with the short answer part of the benchmark. Write number 15. So I'm going to start from the back and forward. Number 15, I want you to write focus 02 directrix y equals negative 2. By now, you guys should be experts at these. Yes? Yes, Mr. Q, we love these. All right, good. So this is number 15 from the study guide B. All right, get a little coordinate plane on the side. And let's do this one together. It's going to go pretty fast, yes? All right, so if I underline directrix y equals negative 2, tell your neighbor the very first equation that comes to mind, being that it goes through the point of origin of 0, 0. What equation comes to mind? Tell your neighbor. Joseph, go. All right, thank you. And then we write x squared equals 4 parentheses y. And remind your neighbor, what do we write here for p? What do we write here for p? Very good. The 2 from the focus. So my new equation is x squared 8y. You box it, because that's what I need to see as an answer. And let's graph. Focus is at 0, 2. And by the way, look up guys, just a quick heads up. On the benchmark, some of these are scaled by 2s. Do you guys see that? So if you get confused with that, make sure you do like the little tally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see what I'm saying? So that you don't make mistakes when you're doing the graph. Just split up those tallies into ones. All right, let's graph this. 0, 2. 0, 2 is right here. That's my focus. My directrix is at y negative 2. 1, 2. And then it's going through what? Through what? Point of origin, which is 0, 0. So here's 0, 0. And tell your neighbor which way that's going to open. Where's that going to open? Yeah, up. There it is. And once again, this was number 15 from the study guide. All right, let's go to number 14. Write 14 on your paper. This is number 14. And right now I'm doing the short answer part of the study guide. So, don't copy the instructions. Copy the equation. So like that, when you get to the study guide, you just see that it's the same work. And it reads, graph the circle after writing the equation in standard form. Don't worry about this. You can make your own once we get the equation. So don't worry about the coordinate plane. Just copy the equation. All right. So now we are in circles. We have x squared plus y squared plus 6x minus 10y plus 25 equals 0. Remind your neighbor, think back, what process do we use to get started? What is that process called? What do we do? All right, for the sake of time, the process is completing the square, yes? All right, so first things first. What do we do for completing the square? Divide by the leading coefficient. What's the leading coefficient? 1. So we end up with x squared plus y squared plus 6x minus 10y plus 25 equals 0. What's my next step in completing the square? Well, I need to get rid of the constant, which is 25. So I subtract 25 from each side. That leaves me negative 25 on one side. And at this step is when you group all the x's together. X squared plus 6x, leave an empty space, plus, and all the y's together. Y squared minus 10y, and you leave an empty space. Close the parentheses. Next, we need to complete the square. Remind your neighbor what to write here. What do we write there? Joseph, pass someone. Mario, what do we write here? Plus what? 6 over 2 squared, and we do that to both sides. 6 over 2 squared. So with that said, what do we write here to complete the square? Tell your neighbor. What do we write there? Yeah, negative 10 over 2 squared. And we do that to both sides. All right, so we end up with x squared plus 6x plus 9, close parentheses, plus y squared minus 10y plus 25 equals negative 25 plus 9 plus 25. Can we combine stuff? Yes, Mr. Hugh, the negative 25 and then 25 cancel. Bring down the 9. And we have x squared plus 6x plus 9 plus y squared minus 10y plus 25. Next, let's factor. Remind your neighbor how to factor this trinomial. What is the shortcut? Remind them. Mario, pass the one. Joseph, what do I do? Square root of the first is x. Square root of the last is 3. Sign of the middle, and you write that squared. Plus, square root of the first, y. Square root of the last, 5. Sign of the middle, minus. Squared, and all that equal to 9. Label this SF. Tell your neighbor what SF stands for. What is SF? Standard form. So let's double check to make sure it's in standard form. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals to r squared. Let me move this up a little bit. All right, so now to graph it, what do we need? We need a center and we need a radius. Tell your neighbor the center of this circle. This is our equation right here. This one. Now that you can match stuff. Tell your neighbor the center and the radius. All right. What's the center? Elijah, what'd you get? Negative 3 and 5. Hands, have you got that? That is correct. And what is our radius, everyone? 3, not 9. You need to do what to the 9 to get the radius? Square root, right? So there you go. All right. Graph it on the side, please. Create your little coordinate plane. I'm going to graph that at negative 3, 5. Radius is 3, so 3 up. Place a point. 3 to the right, 3 down, and 3 to the left. And that's our circle in standard form. Here's our equation in standard form, and that's a circle for that. All right, so that was number 14. Let's go to number 13. 13. All right, on your paper, for number 13, I want you to write this equation. A of W equals 50W minus W squared. All right, just write that one down for right now, and then I'll explain. Here it goes. It reads, answer the question by writing an equation and determining whether the solution of the equations are real, non-real, or answering the question. So here's the question. A rancher has 240 feet of fencing to put around a rectangular corral. the function a of w equals 50w minus w squared gives the corral's area. So, to picture it, just draw a little rectangle. And then just write a of w equals 50w minus w squared. That's our corral, rectangular, and that's the area. Okay. In squared feet and the width in feet. Okay. Then it says, does a rancher have enough for the area? So I want you to write on your paper, A equals 700. Or in other words, put A of W, just not the 8, just put A of W. So that's the question. Will that be enough for the area of that corral, for the fencing of that corral? So this is what we do. You're going to take your equation, A of W. You already have it written down. But instead of writing A of W, tell your neighbor what we're going to write in there. What do I write there? Elijah, pass them on. What do I write there instead of AW? 700, that is correct. Equals to 50W minus W squared. Alright? So, this is a quadratic equation. The only thing that has W's instead of X's, right? So we need to get all terms to one side. So, I'm going to get rid of these right here to make this a positive squared. So I'm going to do minus 50W and plus W squared. Minus 50W and plus W squared. So we end up with 0 on this side. This side I'm going to write in standard form. Which one goes first, guys? What do I write first? The W squared. And then the negative 50W. And last, plus 700. All right? Once you get the equation for these kind of problems right there, guys, I want you to write the standard form equation underneath. AX squared plus BX plus C equal to 0. So let's identify what A is. Tell your neighbor what A is according to that equation. A is 1. What is B? B is negative 50. And what is C? C is 700. All right? So now that we have our values, check this out. We are using the discriminant. Hopefully you guys remember. What was the discriminant? B squared minus 4AC. That came from the quadratic formula, right? So here we go. Let's substitute values in here. What is B? B is negative 50. A is 1. And C is 700. All right, here we go. What is negative 50 times negative 50? Joseph, pass them on. Enrique. Not here. $2,500. That is correct. And then we got negative times a positive times a positive. It's still a negative, so 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 7 is 28 with 2 zeros. So what is 2,500 minus 2,800? That's negative 300. Box that. So now, why did we need this number, Mr. Q? Because who remembers when we end up with a number from the discriminant and how many real solutions? You guys remember this little table? Solutions. If we end up with a positive number, how many real solutions? 2. If we end up with a negative number, how many solutions? None. If we end up with a 0 right here, 1 solution. So, what kind of number is this? Oh, Mr. Q, this is a negative number. So how many real solutions will we get from this equation, guys? None. Is that correct? So then for this problem, you're going to write, let's answer the question first. What does it say? Does the rancher have enough for the area of the corral to be 700 feet? No, so you would write, bless you. The rancher doesn't have enough fencing for the corral. 10Q. And then here, guys, all you have to do is write no real solution. Is it coming back? Yes? All right. Let me send you the screen so you can send me your notes. All right, let's go to number 12. Number 12. Write this equation down. Number 12. So write negative 2x squared plus 12x minus 18. And it says, without solving the equation, which is what we just did on the previous problem, don't copy the instructions because you're going to have the study guide with that code. It says, state the number of solutions and whether they are real or non-real. So here you're going to write, I want you to write on your paper, number of solutions, blank, real or non-real, blank. Write that down, please, as well. All right, so here we go. Look up. Is this in standard form? That's the first thing we check. Step 1, we check for standard form. Is it in standard form, guys? Highest degree to lowest degree? Yes. And so that means we're going to write underneath our standard form equation, ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. Then match each value. So therefore, A is negative 2, B is 12, and C is negative 18. So how can we tell if these have solutions? Again, without graphing or without solving, we use the discriminants. Write that down, B squared minus 4AC. So parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses parentheses. So what is B? B is 12. A is negative 2. And C is negative 18. All right, so what is 12 squared, everyone? 144. Okay, so then we got negative 4 times negative 2, that's 8. So that's positive 8 times a negative. We're going to end up with a negative, so we need to multiply 8 times 18. So that's 64. I got 6. 8 add 6, that's 14. That's 144. So what is 144 minus 144? 0. So look at the table that you just wrote from the previous problem. When we end up with 0, how many solutions, everyone? One solution. Write that in there. One solution. That is correct. So since it's one solution, you're going to write real solution. So Mr. Q, when is it non-real, Mr. Q? When there are no solutions. When there are no solutions, when we end up with a negative here, that's when you write no solutions, or you're going to write non-real. All right? Number 11 now. Let's go. Number 11. Copy this circuit, please, and then write current 19.2 minus 14.I amps. Copy the diagram. I'll give you some time. Go. All right, number 11 says, use the diagram of the electric circuit and the given current to find the total impedance for the circuit and the voltage for each component. Voltage for each component. So when you get to this one, make sure you write your formula. V equals I times Z. V equals I times Z. We're going to use that for each of the components. So what is the process? Let's see if you remember. What did we do first? We label stuff. So what letter should we write for this one? Remind your neighbor. What is this one? Yeah, resistor. Label it R. Resistor. What will we label this one right here? I for inductor. Inductor. And this I is not the one in the formula. This is just for the inductor. And by the way, which one are we missing? We're missing one that looks like this. Look up. Right? That one's called the what? The capacitor. You guys remember that? But this one doesn't have it, so we're not going to worry about it. We're only worrying about these two. So, with that said, this is 4 ohms. So that turns into what, guys? This is only a fourth. This is 3 ohms for the inductor. So what do we turn that into? 3I. That is correct. And just make a note over here, the capacitor is the one that's a negative I. Whenever, if it's in the diagram, just remember that becomes a negative I. All right, so let's start with this one. The resistor. Here we go. We're going to write our voltage equals so the impedance is right here. This one is what we're going to substitute for this I. So that is 19.2 minus 14.4I. And what is Z? Well, Z is this number, which is 4. So for the resistor, the voltage going through the resistor, let's see, 4 times 19.2, that is 76.8, minus, let's see, 4 times 4 is 16, carry 1, 16 plus 1 is 17, carry 1, 4 times 1 is 4, that's 5, and that is an I. This is the voltage going through the resistor. All right, so now we do the same thing for the inductor. So write I for inductor. Write your formula once more. Parentheses and times the impedance. So what's our current? Our current is 19.2 minus 14.4 I. But now the impedance, or the Z, is what? 3I. Here we go. Voltage equals, let's see. I'm going to do the numbers first like this. So I'm going to do 3 times 2, that's 6.3 times 3 times 9, that's 27. We got 2. 3 times 1 is 2. It's 3 plus 2, that's 5. And that is I. All right, next, distribute this one here. Let's see. 3 times, it's a negative. 3 times 4 is 12. We got 1. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13. I got 1. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. And I times I is I squared. Am I done? No, remind your neighbor, why am I not done? Because I need to multiply the negative 43.2 times I squared, which is negative 1. Anytime you see a I squared, you substitute a negative 1. Therefore, the voltage going through the inductor is negative 43.2 times negative. It's a 43.2, and you bring the I at the end, plus 57.6 I. All right, let me send you the screen so you can send me. So those problems were the short answer section of the benchmark. Now we're going to the multiple choice section. So write your next problem, write number 1. Number 1, but write multiple choice number 1. So this is number 1. Number 1. Copy this. Solve, parentheses, 5x plus 8, close parentheses, squared equals 115. Let's solve this. Here we go. So, line down the equal sign. We need to leave x by itself. So how do we get rid of this squared, guys? Square root, that is correct. Square root of this side and square root of this side. That cancels that. We're left with 5x plus 8 equals, since we can't get a perfect square root for that, I'm just going to write plus minus square root of 115. Next, what do I do? Still need to leave x by itself. What do I do next? Everyone? Minus 8 minus 8. We end up with 5x equals negative 8 plus minus square root of 115. And what's our last step? Divide by 5. Divide by 5. X equals negative 8 plus minus square root 115 over 5. All right, let's see if they give us those options. Tell me which one of the, oh, sorry. Let me zoom out. Which one of those is the solution to that? And let them know why. So first of all, at the end it was divided by 5, right? So it's not that one or that one. So it has to be B or C. Answer is, everyone, C. Does everybody see? All right. So let me send you a screen so you can send me your notes. All right, that was number 1. Go to number 2. Let me zoom in. This is number 2 of the multiple choice. Bless you. Copy the equation. Number 2. Solve 81 x squared plus 25 equal to 0. All right, and once again, what is the easiest method that we use, everyone, to solve quadratic equations? Easiest method is what? Square roots, yes. So therefore, we need to get rid of that 25, so we subtract 25. Subtract 25. We're left with 81 x squared equals negative 25. What's my next step? And you know what? For this one, there's a typo. Look up, guys. Change this to a negative. So that means here we do a plus, plus, and this is a plus. All right, next step. We need to leave x by itself, so we divide by 81. We're left with x squared equals 25 divided by 81. Next, how do we cancel this squared, everyone? Everyone. Square root to both sides. That is correct. X equals plus minus. What is square root of 25? 5. What is square root of 81? 9. All right, let me zoom out. Hold on. So, since I changed this to a negative and we end up with a positive number, the correct answer was D. Oh, sorry. We started this one with a negative, yes? All right. However, look up, guys. What if I would have left this with a negative there? That means we would have ended up with a square root of negative 25 and 81. Is that correct? So, talk it over to your neighbor. If we would have ended up with this, what would be our solution out of the 4? Talk it over to your neighbor. What would be the solution? Elijah, pass someone. Joseph. B. That is correct. No real solution. Everybody, why? Because of this negative square root. Yes? Number 3. Number 3 of the multiple choice. I think this is as far as we're going to get today. Number 3. Copy the equation x squared plus 2x plus 24 equal to 0. Now it says here, solve it by completing the square. What is my first step, everyone? Divide by the leading coefficient, yes? So divide by 1. X squared plus 2x plus 24 equal to 0. Next, what do? Get rid of the 24, so minus 24 minus 24. X squared plus 2x, empty space, equals negative 24. What do I do next? Tell your neighbor, what do we do next to fill this gap right here? Joseph. No, I'm saying Joseph. 2 over 2 squared to both sides. 2 over 2 squared to both sides. So we got x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals to negative 24 plus 1. Can we simplify this? Yeah, no, negative 23. And this is x squared plus 2x plus 1. How do we factor this, everyone? Hold on, before we go. How do we factor this? Square root, so that is x1 squared equals to negative 23. And it looks like the correct answer was C. All right? Study tonight, your study guide. Finish it off, please. So like that, make sure you guys are ready. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.